Okay, super.
All right, we're going to get down to specifics in a moment, but first, let's get your overall view of what happened last night.
Well, it was, of the three speeches I've heard, State of the Union speeches, it was my favorite. I like that he focused on the future. He said a couple things that were really important to San Diegans. We depend on an educated workforce. I like this focus on education. I like this also his focus on scientific research, mentioning Vertex, some of the therapies that are coming for cystic fibrosis right from San Diego. Those are important for patients, but they're also important for our economy. So for me and for us, I thought it was a good night.
Congressman, towards the end of the president's speech last night, he talked a lot about trying to bring the two sides together, both, the Democrats and the Republicans. He talked a lot about trying to get along. But really, I noticed a couple of times in that speech last night, the president being very firm on what he would veto, and that would be almost everything that the Republicans stand for. So how can you, at the same time, have this kumbaya, let's come together, and the president, in the exact same sentence, be very kind of confrontational?
Well, I think part of it is being clear about, what you can agree on and what you can't agree on. I think that obviously he said there's some things that I just can't do, but there's other areas where we want to work together, and that's frankly been my orientation, is let's look for places where we can agree and make progress. Things like tax reform, immigration reform. And he did let people know that he is still the president. He's going to draw the line in some spots. I don't think that will get in the way of bipartisanship if we're all committed to working together to solving some of these problems.
You talk about that commitment. If you want to address the label that you're wearing, the lapel pin that you're wearing,
sure,
that a lot of congressmen were wearing last night.
So I'm a member of No Labels. We have about 70 members of Congress, Republicans and Democrats, committed to problem solving. Things like job creation, balancing the budget, energy security. It's a good forum for us to discuss away from our leadership about how to advance the country and how to work together. And so I was proud to sport the label last night, or sport the pin last night, let people know that we came here to solve problems, and that's what we want to do in the next 2 years.
Congressman, there was a lot of I felt while watching the speech, and I kind of was watching the social media feeds that were coming in as the president was speaking, and I think the overall feeling was that there was some positive energy being, from that chamber last night, some overall positivity. Can you talk about what the feeling is this morning, and if indeed that coming together that the president is hoping for will actually happen?
Well, actually, I started my morning as part of a 20-member bipartisan working group of Republicans and Democrats who we decided to sort of get together offline and figure out where we can make progress. And people are really starting to think, we're going to have to take on some big problems, and I think that's what they took away from the speech last night. I think in many ways, the fact that the Republicans have both the Senate and the House will minimize the disruption between those two bodies. Congress will come up with one plan. President Obama will have a different plan, and we'll actually be able to negotiate out some solutions. And that's why I come. As you know, that's always been my goal, is to try to work with anybody to get things done, and I'm hoping for a better Congress this time than last time.
Talk more about the tax plan and what the president had to say about it. Obviously, there's Republican opposition. Very doubtful any of this will pass. What are your feelings about that as far as a compromise, as far as coming together and actually making progress on this tax reform?
Dave, you said tax reform?
Yes, tax reform.
Yeah, well, the interesting thing about tax reform is everyone agrees that the tax system is broken. It's too complicated. Some people are getting away with paying nothing. It should be fair. I think we all agree on that. It's obviously the devil's in the details. The Republicans actually came up with a tax reform proposal last time that was honest. Everyone had something about it that they hated, and I think that we're probably on the precipice of doing some pretty good tax reform if we're willing to sit down and make it work. I'm not sure that the president's particular proposals are going to make it through. I kind of doubt, actually, that some of those specifics are going to make it, but I think the concept of a tax reform that's more simple, more fair, and generates economic growth, which is really how you balance the budget, is a real possibility if we want to work together.
And what would that include in your mind? How could that happen? How could you guys work together? What would the proposal, the bipartisan proposal
right now,
be?
you know, I think on the corporate tax side, we know that our corporate tax rates are very high. They put us at a competitive disadvantage in the world. At the same time, we allow some sectors huge deductions, and some companies aren't even paying anything. So generally the concept is that you would lower the rates, but make sure that everyone's paying their fair share and not getting away with loopholes and deductions. And so everyone kind of agrees in concept that that's the way to do it. It's just a matter of sitting down and hammering it out.
Well, we appreciate your time this morning. Thank you so much for taking the time to talk to us.
Are you missing our weather?
Oh, come on. You're killing me.
Well, come home and stop by.
I will, as much as I do. As much as I can, I do. So
actually,
take care.
Stay there and keep working on our behalf. How about
That's
that?
right. We'll see.
All right, we'll do.
We'll see you
Thank
soon.
you.